we're gonna just party a little bit. So, we got snow coming down outside, and I'm not going anywhere. So, cheers. I know there's nobody here yet, but hey, give it time. Some people will show up. Okay. So,
Germany's Führer felt the people back home needed to better know one of his most successful field commanders. They promoted Rommel to field marshal. Nazi propaganda minister
is there anybody out there?
into a hero back in the fatherland. German propaganda
Is there anybody out there?
Propaganda campaign to put and then keep Rommel's image in front of the German people. Rommel was a handsome man. It didn't hurt that he was photogenic. It didn't hurt that he was well-spoken. Rommel became the poster boy for the German. The German army's new face of victory provided a much-needed.
Well, I guess nobody's going to show up today, huh?
Headed into 1942.
Interesting.
Rommel's run of success in North Africa was not enjoyed in other parts of the world by German generals, especially those commanding in Russia, where Germany had invaded the Soviet Union in 1941. The Desert Fox, as Rommel had been respectfully branded by the British for his genius and daring, had latitude due to his early victories. When orders came in from the Nazi general staff, and Rommel didn't like
Hey, what's up, whoever you are? Welcome.
These actions baffled the British.
Cheers. Yep, and you're gone. Alright, well, whatever. I don't really care. Hey, Big Logic, what's going on? Just growing weed. Smoking weed. Talking about weed. Seems to be a theme here. Cheers.
The fight in North Africa began to turn back
What's up with you? What's going on with you today? Anything exciting? That's got a good head buzz to it. Hey, it's a couple people there. Welcome. This isn't going to be really exciting, but we're just sitting around smoking weed, talking about growing weed. The one thing we won't be talking about is politics. We don't do that here. So everybody sign up and let me see who's here. Throw your name out there. Type a period. Send a cheers, I'd like to know who's here. Oh, that's a good buzz. Ooh. Yum. Purple banana cookies. Shit's got a lot of flavor, man. And a really good head buzz. Ooh. plant's coming down in a few days. Yeah, I just chopped my citrus pie about 4 or 5 days ago, and man, it's got some big, round, hard nugs already. So it's curing down real nicely. And yeah, I got 10 number one will be coming down in about 10 days or so. Yep, a lot of shit going on in the garden these days, a little bit. Trying to get back into production again. So when I had that surgery, I had to let my clones all die out, and because I couldn't get anybody that could do all that kind of care. So I'm kind of having to start up again, and I got tent 1 and 2 going for a while there. Now tent number 2 is empty, but I've got some plants coming up to go in there real soon. I got some Purple Bubba Kush and some Suzy Q that I'm going to put in there pretty soon. And then I'm going to have some Purple Unicorn and Cherry West. Once I separate the males and females from those, I'm going to have both of those strains to be growing out yet. I got a grape cheese auto going, but it's a reg, so we don't know if it's female yet or not. I've got a plant skunk ape auto that has definitely turned out to be female. It's got nice pussy hair all over it. And so, tent 1 will be the last of the Tattoo and Sunset. I was really surprised how much people love this sativa, because I'm not a big sativa fan. It's a 70% sativa, and people have been clamoring about it. Oh, it's fucking great. I love it, love it, love it. So, give the people what they want. You know what they say. Don't try to convert them. You just never know a sativa person when you see them. They don't really give out any signs that they're a sativa freak, but, they're out there. You never know. Could be your best friend's a sativa freak. You don't even know it. So, yeah, I very seldom smoke sativas. Occasionally when I get like a major couch lock I can't get out of, or I'll do a hit or two, or maybe I need to get a bunch of shit done and I don't feel like doing it, and then, the shit will sit for months. I don't smoke it very often. So, yeah, that's the way I feel about that. But yeah, so cheers.
In May of 1943, 130,000 Germans and Italians surrendered in North Africa. Many historians began the first clear stories of the executions and the mass murder of Russian prisoners of war and civilians. It wasn't
Oh, wow. Oh, shit. So, yeah, I'll be trimming that citrus pie up in a few days. There's such big, thick, dense buds, and I gotta give it a little extra time to make sure that the interior of it's dry too. So, yeah, I'm gonna be working on that pretty soon. I'm guessing there's somewhere between 8 and 11 ounces on that plant. Not bad for an auto, just grown in the corner, So, yeah, that's what's going on and what's kind of coming up in the garden right now. I've already taken clones of the Suzy Q. Got 3 clones of that got already, and they're perky as hell, sticking straight up. So, restarted the clone machine again. It's been down for a while. And, it's doing great, So that's what we're doing there. And, I know I've done this before and it never worked before, blah, 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 blah. But I took the 2 bottom branches off the Planet Skunk Auto. It's not in flower yet. It's still very much in the veg stage. If I can get it to root quickly enough, I think I can get 2 more Planet Skunk Autos out of this thing. I know it can be done, okay? Yeah, these plants do really well. I mean, all my plants are doing really well. I just see got a groove going on the fertilizers and shit right now. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's just, you know. So I'm gonna try it. I mean, I know Bill Ward did it once on a video. He actually cloned some autos, some cuts from autos. I think the trick is really to catch it at the right phase. And the two bottom branches I took were kind of immature compared to the rest of the plant, which I'm hoping will give me a chance at, it having time to veg out and do everything. I know it's on the same clock as the rest of the plant, so it's 3 weeks old already or whatever. I know that already, but so they may not be very big plants. I don't know. They may just end up being like 3 or 4 feet tall, and that's it. But if I get any weed off of them, it's bonus. I mean, it's bonus off of one auto seed. So I got room in the clone machine, and I was going to cut those bottom 2 branches off anyway, so they wouldn't drain the plant of any energy. So I thought, fuck it, I'll stick them in there and see if I can get them to root quickly enough, and maybe I can put them in some dirt. And you never know, it might work. I mean, I'm willing to give it a shot. I don't see why. I got nothing to lose on it. If it doesn't work, I'll just pull them and throw them away. So yeah, it's nice to see clones in the clone machine again. It's been a while, and I'm looking forward to ending this fucking year. It's been a shit year. If that offends anybody, I don't give a shit. How's that? Yeah, it's been a crap year. I had the fucking surgery crap and all kinds of other shit go on this year, Just bad emotional crap all year. So how's that? Especially at the end here a little bit. So, yeah, I'm ready for this fucking year to be over with. I really am. Who else is ready for this freaking year to be over with? Yeah, Big Logic. I mean, normally, I think the last citrus pie I grew, it had eight ounces on it, and same strain. But this one has bigger, harder nugs on the tops, and so I had to bend a bunch of these branches on the top of this plant, so it gave me a whole bunch of top bud is what it did, almost like cropping it. I think that even though there's not much on the bottoms of this plant, they're kind of sparse on the bottom parts of the plant. The top parts of this plant are just fucking huge. I got bud down there that's that fucking long and that fucking big around, and it's solid as a rock already. I knew it was going to be a real dense bud when I cut it because it was already dense then. They usually don't, they only get so much more dense as they dry. If they're loose as hell to begin with, they'll get crispy, but they won't get really, really dense and tight. And some people just really insist that they've got to have that really tight, dense bud. I don't give a fuck if the bud comes to the bottom of the plant, if it's small bud, if it's medium bud, if it's top bud. I don't care if it's tight, big, hard nugs, or if it's just more of a loose bud. Because you know what? You grind it all up before you smoke it. And THC is THC. It's the same level at the bottom bud as it is in the top bud and the middle bud. It's the same level of THC throughout the plant. So, and the bottom bud that I don't use in smoking jars, it goes into oils and butters and I use it to make keef hash, and I use it for pre-rolls. So, we use every bit of the plant, and we don't discriminate here. So yeah, that citrus pie came out different than its sibling. I mean, now they were under two different lights, which could have something to do with it. The one was under a Mars Hydro, and the other one was under some generic lights. Um, and that may have something to do with it because other than that, they're virtually identical. You know, everything else is identical. The soil, the nutrient feeds, everything. And yet this one's got much more dense bud and bigger top bud than the other plant had. So, you know, there's some variables there, and there could be some strain variables too, you know, but I still think that it's probably the light, you know, it's just a better light that it's under. So, you know, we'll see. You know, we'll see how that works out. But, yeah. Oh, I think this bowl needs to be changed. I think this one's cooked pretty much. So, nobody's talking much. That's okay. I'll lose my voice here in a minute and kill this thing anyway. I just felt like saying hi out there and see if any of my friends showed up, you know. And good to see Big Logic here. You know, to see some people show up and say hi and smoke a bowl with me, you know. That kind of shit. Purple Canyon, why not? So, yeah, we'll try this strain for a little while. Oh, yeah, it smells so good. So, yeah, what does anybody want to talk about weed rise? I don't know. I mean, I learned a lot in the last 5 years, and I've fucked up a lot in the last 5 years, but, you know, experimenting with like Lazy Man's hydroponic system I tried to develop. Yeah, it turns out you can't really be lazy and still get it to work. And so I did, you'll see some videos of that back there. It just didn't really work that well. The plants did grow. I did get them to grow, but the yields were really low. And it was a lot of work for what I thought was going to be Lazy Man. You know, I had a lot of work I had to do on it. So, you know, yeah. Tried a few weird things like that, but you know, once I watched Bill Ward do a video where he was growing in this 100-gallon fabric pot. I had no idea they had them that big, so I bought 3 of them. Yeah, and I got one in each of my tents, and I grow, you know, either a single or multiple plants in that pot. And that way the roots have as much room as they want to spread out, and we all know that if the roots feel cramped, they slow down the plant's growth. So, you know, we want to make sure the roots feel comfortable to spread out as much as they want. And it's been going really well because I keep the soil alive, and, you know, keep the microbes alive in the soil, and I, you know, keep it amended in that between crops and all kinds of stuff. So, you know, it's about the best I've come up with, and I'm getting some great yields out of it. I mean, it's not uncommon for me to get 1.5 pounds out of a single tent. It's really not that uncommon at all. I average at least 1 pound or better. This last Tattoo and Sunset tent number 2 was full of it. I only got like, what was it? I think it was 13.5 ounces out of that one. But there was 3 big plants and 2 in 1-gallon fabric pots in there. And, you know, the 2 small ones, I got maybe 1 ounce or 2 out of those. But the big plants did really well. And so, yeah, I ended up getting about 13.5 ounces on that one. So it wasn't quite a pound, but yeah. Now, the Tattoo and Sunset that I had in tent number 1, that was a single plant by itself. And that one did get me like 18 ounces. So it was a bountiful plant. And I've got one in there now, and this one I scrogged out because literally when I took this thing out of the veg area and put it in the tent, it was already almost touching the light. And I'm like, oh fuck, I can't bend this down enough and fuck with this enough to make this work. And this Tattoo and Sunset has a tendency to be really, really top heavy. I've had it break branches and all kinds of shit. I've got yo-yos stringing this shit up like marionettes. So this time I just said, fuck it. I put a scrog web, in there, and I just fucking bent the fucking main top all the way down. And it still grew through the mesh really well, and it's supporting it because it's already laying down. The top half, which is above the scrog, is already laying down all over the fucking place. I've got 7 or 8 of them up with yo-yos, but I can't put 50 yo-yos in there. It's just not practical. So some of them are just gonna lay down on each other until they finish. I just got to make sure it doesn't get too humid in there and I get bud rot or anything. But I keep that under control, so I don't think that'll be a problem. So this one I expect to get over a pound out of this one plant. I really do. I expect that easily. It's just, it's just the way these buds are forming on it again. So, so yeah, there's going to be, I've already got I think my total yield so far on Tattoo and Sunset was over 21 ounces so far of all the different harvests so far, the 2 harvests. So, I have buttloads of this stuff around here, and I don't smoke it, so, it's just piling up, I got a cat litter bucket full of it right now, and a big fucking jar that's 3/4 full of it right now, So, yeah, we've got a shitload of this stuff, Funny story about this Tattoo and Sunset, okay? So I'm growing this out in the auto area, in the veg area, because I thought it was an auto. So the thing starts getting huge. Shit. It's hitting the light. It's not flowering. I'm like, what the fuck? So I call the guy up that I got the seeds from. He goes, no, man, that's a photo film. Well, I couldn't move it into the tent because the thing was already, taller than me. It was already like 6.5 feet tall. There was just no fucking way I could move that thing. And I had it one of those big 40-gallon or 30-gallon fabric pots I got over there. I just couldn't lift that motherfucker up and carry it all over there. So I just decided to take about 14 cuts off of the damn plant and then kill the mother. I had no choice. There's nothing else I could do. So I'm like, well, I hope this thing works. So I ended up growing it out the first time from clones. I didn't grow it out from the seed the first time, which is kind of unusual. And, it changes the structure of the plant a little bit. But literally, almost every one of those 14 cuts took. So I had like shitloads of it around. So I grew 1 or 2 of them in tent number 1, and then I had 5 of them in tent number 2, and I just kept growing them out in different places, until I got rid of all of them. And, I ended up with I didn't grow all 14 of them out. I killed some of them. But I ended up doing 7 or 8 of them, I think, total, No, I think it was about 6 or so. And I got over 20 ounces of weed off of those 6 plants. So not too bad. Not too bad at all. It's one of those strains that the bud's kind of loose. It's not a real hard bud. But when you break it up, you get a lot of weed off the bud. It's a lot of very good smokable weed in the bud. So. So yeah, so I grew that out, and I'm gonna be done with it after tent number 1 gets done, and I chop it in about 10 days. And then, like I said, we'll be moving on to Purple Bubba Kush, Susie Q, Purple Unicorn, Cherry West. Those are all photos that I've got, growing right now. The Purple Bubba Kush are films, so I don't have to worry about those. The Susie Q turned out to be a film. And so that one's cool, and I got clones of that cut. And we have 5 purple unicorns and 3 cherry west, so I know I'll get some females out of there somewhere. And so I got lots of insurance on those 2 strains. So, yeah, and with all these different plants and the different cuts I'll take of them, we'll end up doing like I did the Tattoo and Sunset. This is what I'm doing now. I just decided instead of growing out like 13 different varieties at the same time and trying to, go crazy. I'm gonna take 1 or 2 strains and I'm gonna just go grow the fuck out of them. So you clone it and you grow 5 or 6 plants of it, and you fill up a bucket or 2 of weed, and then you move on to the next strain. Especially if you've got seeds of it in the vault still, and you're comfortable that you've got enough to last you fucking a year at least for that particular strain, So that way I can just concentrate on 1 strain or 2 strains at a time in the photo area. Now, what allows me to do that is the auto area. I have 3 large 35-gallon or whatever the fuck they are fabric pots that I'm trying to grow autos in all the time. So right now I've got 2 of those pots with plants growing in them, and the 3rd one I've got a seed in, hoping it'll pop in the next couple of days. That's a Pineapple Express from Fast Buds 420. And then in a clay pot over on the side, I've got another Fem Auto Gorilla Cookies, which I'm going to, hopefully it's going to sprout too, and we'll grow that one out. So yeah, I may have to set up another large pot. If this grape cheese in there turns out to be a male, then I'm covered. I can just replace it. But if it's a female, then I may have to put up another pot for it, So yeah, with the autos, I can grow varieties. I can grow like 3 or 4 different auto varieties at the same time. I'm not usually worried about cloning them or doing big or major grows on them. It's like 1 seed, 1 plant. So you just have to get them to sprout and get them through the grow. That's all. And so that gives me the option of growing 2 or 3 different varieties over on the veg and auto area, and while constantly having my new strains of photos in the veg area getting ready to take place in the tents number 1 and 2. So tent number 3, people say, why aren't you using tent number 3 anymore? Well, here's the deal. The damn zipper broke on the motherfucker, and it's certainly not something I can take the damn tent somewhere and get it repaired. It's got a 100-gallon pot of dirt in the bottom of it right now. So I thought about in the future, if I really need more production, I could put 3 autos in that tent and just leave the flap open all day and night, because it doesn't matter. My other tents, I unzip them in the morning and zip them back up at night so they don't get too hot inside during the day when the lights are on. And this one, I can't do that anymore because the damn zipper broke. So, I jimmy rigged it a bunch of different ways until it finally just gave up the fucking ghost, and the whole zipper part just fell apart basically. So they were cheap tents, and they've already been around for over 4 years now, 4.5 years now, something like that. So, I've made shitloads of weed out of them, so I'm not too fucking bummed about it, and I really don't need to burn all the electricity to run 3 4,800 watt lights, in 3 tents. Right now tent number 2 is off and tent number 3 is off and has been off for a while, so our electric bills dropped fucking $100 a month. So yeah, it gives a break a little bit on the budget billing. So this is Purple Canyon, another Greenpoint seed variety, and cheers. So, what's everybody smoking on out there? Tell me what you're smoking on. Is it hash? Are you vaping? Are you smoking weed? What kind of weed you smoking? Did you grow it yourself? You could have a little bit of a conversation out there, folks. Up to you.
That all his mines, obstacles, fortifications, and infantry could never stop the Allies.
I have 18 different strains of pot over here next to my chair.
American alliance now held
So I'm constantly just kind of like rotating the wheel and picking the next strain to smoke. It's not really that much of a directed smoke where I'm planning my smoke or anything. I just grab what's next, and I will spin the wheel sometimes or look down on the floor where the other bottles are and just kind of reach and grab one and go, oh yeah, I'll do that one now. Because there's really nothing on there that I don't like, so I can't really lose on whatever I pick. That purple Canadian's got a really good taste to it. Very good aftertaste in your mouth. Like that a lot. So yeah, that's a good one. Don't have a lot of that. I'm trying to remember how much I got of that. Maybe a few ounces of it left. That's all right. I mean, I've got so many other strains. I've got seeds for it too, so I can grow it again. Yeah. So, anybody want to talk about what they're smoking or growing? Or you just want to sit here and watch me ramble on?
In it, Rommel told Hitler the war in the West was lost, and in so many words that the Führer of Germany should peace in the West, ending the fight.
Hope you all had a decent Thanksgiving. We got snow coming down outside, and we got easily 2 inches out there, a little bit better. First snow of the year here in Missouri, and glad I don't have to fucking go anywhere, actually, to be honest with you. It's kind of nice not to have to get out in this shit. So, anybody want to talk about anything in particular, or are you just going to sit and stare at me? Yeah, I guess everybody's leaving anyway, so fuck it, Oh, well, amazingly enough, and this is freaking me out, I get more views of these lives after I do them when they're not live anymore than I do while they're live. So, I mean, like the last live I did, it's got over 100 fucking views, and I'm like, really? It's kind of like, you're watching it live and you can't even interact with it because it's already happened. So it kind of surprised me that people would watch them after they've already been done. But you never fucking know. My last video went stupid on me all of a sudden. It's got like 145 or 6 fucking views already, and that's like 3 times what I usually get. So, yeah, you just never know what people are gonna like and what they're gonna fucking watch. So you just, put the shit out there and hope somebody gets something out of it. So yeah, it's winter, and it's just a good time to really get your indoor garden going and get it really, firing on all cylinders, so you don't run out. And, I mean, who the fuck wants to face New Year's Eve without any fucking weed in their jar, So, anybody, needs some help or anything like clones or anything, if you're in the area, I'll be glad to hook you up,
Then stand trial in court by the German people.
So, and I got some seeds of my Carmen Miranda Rose, or I'm now calling it Deacon's Delight. and it was a really good smoke. It was a cross I did by accident of two of Harley Grower's strains, and I'm telling you, they came out. The strain came out really fire. Even Harley grew it out. I get sent him some seeds. He grew it out and said it was awesome, and he crossed it with oh, I can't remember. He crossed it with something, and he said the resulting weed was unfucking believable. So, you know, total fucking accident. Didn't mean for it to happen. And yet, you know, the seed came out to be, you know, I grew some of it out, and it was, yeah, it was pretty fucking good. So, you never know what you're going to get, you know. It's better than growing bag seed from the 80s or 90s, you know. So, so yeah, these Fast Bud 420 autos, they do some shit in their genetics that make them finish faster. I mean, they claim that, you know, like a lot of their strains will be done in like 75 days from seed to chop. So, I mean, you're literally going like 2.5 months, you know, and, you know, I mean, think about a photo. You got like 2 months of veg, and you got 2 months or better of flower, you know. So, yeah, these autos can really turn, you know, you can really turn your tents or your grow areas a lot with these autos, you know. And, you know, a friend of mine called me up one day. He said, man, I want to grow some weed. He goes, and I don't know what to buy and what kind of equipment I need and all that shit, you know, and I don't have much room. I'm living in an apartment. And I said, well, you know what? Here's what I would do. Get a 35-gallon or 40-gallon fabric pot, or maybe a decorative one if you want. Doesn't matter. Some kind of ceramic one's fine, you know, because you're going to grow this thing as a house plant. Pick a corner of your room somewhere where you can set up an LED light and a timer. Set it for 18 hours a day. Buy some auto seeds, auto fem seeds. Get one of them to germinate, stick it in that fucking pot, and treat it like you're growing a spider plant. And if you do it right, you don't need a tent, you don't need a fan. Your odor's not going to be super bad from one plant. You know, a little spray, odorizer around, take care of them for the most part. If you grow it right and you treat it right, and the strain is decent, you know, and it's designed to have decent productivity, you're going to get anywhere from 8 to 10 ounces or better from that single plant. And for most people, if they could get that every 75 days, let's see, they're going to be getting like 5 harvests a year. So if they're getting, that's 40 ounces of weed, you know, and most people, you know, I swear to God, most people could get by on 40 ounces of weed a year, you know, from that one pot, that one light, and one timer, and just a little bit of fertilizer, and literally they could be self-sufficient without having to spend a shitload of money or have a basement or any of that stuff. You know, don't go crazy like I did. Go out and buy 3 tents and all the fucking lights, and then buy them again when the better ones came out, and then set up a veg auto area. You don't need to do all that if you're just going to grow autos, which is fine. There's some great auto strains out there. Just set up a nice corner, and you're going to have this beautiful decorative plant. I mean, there is no house plant out there that has more beautiful flowers on it than cannabis. There's just not. I mean, I've got photographs here on the walls of some of my earlier flowerings, and they're just absolutely beautiful, you know, and I'm not taking credit for it. Nature did the work. But I'm just telling you, they're beautiful. The colors, the shape of the leaves and bud, just everything about them is just a beautiful fucking plant. So you got this beautiful fucking plant, and, you know, when you chop it, if you're smart, you'll have another seed already started, you know, in a little pot. And like when you're getting ready to chop it, get it started like maybe a week or so, or 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks before you're going to chop your plant. Then you can put a plant right back in there again on day one and start over again. That's important. You got to turn that fucking plant. And if it's Christmas, you can use it as a Christmas tree if it's big enough, Put a few ornaments on it, put your presents around the bottom of it, I mean, why not? It's a beautiful fucking plant. And it's shaped like a Christmas tree in a lot of strange, Big broad base, and then it goes up to a nice point at the top. So yeah, it'd make a great looking little Christmas tree. And if you take the trim, and the sugar leaves, and you use it to make pre-rolls, make extracts like oils and butters. You can use it to make RSO. You can use it to make hash and a hash tumbler. So you can get a lot of extra product out of the stuff that's just, tiny little larvae bud at the bottom of the plant or whatever, and don't throw that away. It's good stuff, Get rid of the fan leaves and keep the rest of the plant, You can do a lot with it, man. My edibles are kicking people's asses. They're so much stronger than the shit you get at the dispensaries. People can't fucking believe it. They're like, holy crap, man. I ate one or two of your gummies and I couldn't fucking drive, So, yeah, that's kind of good shit there. So, yeah, use all that. You get more out of your plant. You're making brownies and cookies, and you can make Rice Krispie treats, and you can make chocolates like I do, and gummies. There's all kinds of edibles you can make out of them. I'm going to make some pot and mayonnaise. I'm getting ready to do that pretty soon. Gonna make some pot mayonnaise. So you smear it on a sandwich and you're gonna get really fucked up because it uses like a cup of oil. So it makes a little bitty jar of mayonnaise. So it's going to it's gonna kick your ass. We're gonna put a little garlic in it. So it might cover any little pot taste that might be in there a little bit too much. So we're going to grate some garlic into it and make a good garlic mayo out of it. And, think about it, man. You can use it to make, like, potato salad and deviled eggs and all kinds of shit once you got this mayonnaise, Tuna salad, chicken salad, a Waldorf salad, They all use mayo, So yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna make some salad dressings, and this year we're trying to move a little bit. Well, we got all the sweet stuff down. We got tons of that shit around here now, and people love it. But I want to do some more of the savory stuff, like the mayonnaise. I thought about making homemade potato chips fried in pot oil. We do popcorn in pot oil. We've made steak butter with pot butter, vinegar and olive oil, salad dressing with pot olive oil. So we're trying to get it. I made mashed potatoes one night using the pot butter. Oh my God, people got fucked up. So yeah, we're trying to get into more of doing the savory stuff, and we've already got like the dessert thing all kind of going on, and so looking at like hors d'oeuvres and then like your main course kind of stuff, and use your pot products in there to make them magic instead of just regular old crap. So then you can use all this stuff in your cooking, and get some pretty amazing results from, your edibles. And it's going to give you a lot more opportunity. The whole ideal is to try to get a good steady supply of edibles into your body throughout the day. So, if you do something in the morning, like a gummy or something, and then as the day goes on, You could do some, like, something with the mayo or the potato chips kind of thing or something. And then, in the evening, you might do some of the chocolates, and we're going to make a German chocolate cake using, pot stuff. So you could have a slab of that and then go to bed. And hopefully you got enough in you that it keeps your pain levels down, your anxiety levels down, your depression down, and helps you sleep like a baby. Throw all that together, and you've done it all right if all that works. So, yeah, so we're trying to get into more of the savory stuff now. And, I'm always looking at different ways to incorporate cannabis into my cooking and into my pastry kind of stuff, Give people some alternative ways to ingest my cannabis without, being uncomfortable about it. I've got 80 some odd year old patients out there that use my gummies and my chocolates to sleep at night. So, it's important that, I make them and have them available because they get used to taking them and then they really don't want to go without them too much, So it's kind of weird that way. But, yeah. Anyway, it's kind of weird. So, yeah, I find that a lot of the older folks don't want to smoke it, even though... I got a friend who's got COVID right now, and I told him, I said, you need to smoke cannabis and do edibles because they've already proven that cannabis coats the inside of your lungs and it kills the virus and it prevents the virus from being absorbed into the lung tissue. I don't have COVID. I've never had COVID. I've been around it all through this bullshit, and I never got it. And I didn't take the damn vaccines either. And I'm telling you, the difference is I smoke a lot of fucking cannabis and my lungs just are protected. I believe that, and nobody's going to prove differently to me because I know the only thing I did different than everybody around me was I smoke a shitload of fucking cannabis, and I have for the last, 40 some odd years. So, it's proven to be an antiviral. It's proven to be an anti-inflammatory, which both helps in COVID. It's proven to boost your immune system. I mean, these are all facts. This isn't like I'm just making this shit up out of my ass or something, It's been known to cure cancer. I mean, if somebody told me tomorrow I had cancer, I would be fucking making up RSO like a factory around here, and I would be ingesting it constantly because I've read stories about people that had stage 4 cancer, and the doctors basically told them, you need to go home and write your affairs in order kind of thing. And we've tried everything we can do. We've just about destroyed your immune system and everything else we can do. But yeah, you're still not going to survive. And they go home and somebody says, look, you got nothing to fucking lose. If you had started this when you first got diagnosed, you probably wouldn't have had to do all this shit. Try the RSO and see if it doesn't help. And next thing you know, they go back 6 months later to the doctor and they can't find any cancer and the patient's recovering and the doctor can't figure out what's going on and everybody just scratches their head. So there's certainly a lot to be said about, I mean, if cancer is really a virus or some kind of a viral explosion of cell growth, then anything that can block the viral response is going to help you survive all this crap out there, the flus and the fucking COVIDs and all this shit. And you don't have to take their bullshit, fucking fake ass, dangerous vaccines either, Yeah, I got a friend who did all that. He got the vaccines, did all it like he was a good little boy, and he got COVID. and he had a massive fucking stroke, and he's a fucking vegetable now. I mean, he can kind of know, he knows what's going on around him. He can't talk, can't feed himself. You know, he's bedridden. His life is over. And, you know, he did everything they told him to do. You know, he didn't smoke a lot of weed, but he did everything they told him to do. Took his vaccines like a good little boy. When he got to COVID, he stayed home and basically, you know, tried to do like a good boy. Had a massive fucking stroke. And, voila. Yeehaw. So, you know, I'm telling you, I always say it, keep taking your medicine. I'm not kidding when I say that shit. I really believe it's important. You know, this stuff really does have a lot of beneficial effects on people. They're using it for PTSD. They're using it for just a lot of stuff right now, you know. I mean, God, they've used it for years for nausea during cancer. And I got to tell you, I had gastric surgery, you know, like 5 months ago. And I was like throwing up constantly. I couldn't keep food down. I couldn't keep water down. And the only thing that gave me any relief at all was just to smoke a shitload of weed and try to suppress the nausea. You know, it was just like nothing they gave me was doing anything. It didn't work. Hey, love, Stecco, what's going on? Yeah, nice to meet you too. So basically, you know, the cannabis is what kept me from like literally probably dying because see, here's what's going on. I lost like 20 pounds because I wasn't eating and wasn't keeping anything down. And I got extremely dehydrated. Ended up going back to the hospital twice to the ER because I was extremely dehydrated and throwing up nonstop, you know. And I mean, I wasn't sure they were ever going to get it under control and anything. And, you know, they're telling me, well, don't be smoking weed. It can make you nauseous. I'm like, oh, you're so full of shit. So I finally got home the last time and I smoked the weed. I did the edibles. I did the oils. I did everything I could. And slowly, you know, I started being able to eat again and to start to exercise a little bit here and there. And I mean, I was so weak I could hardly walk down the hallway. And because I wasn't eating, I wasn't drinking, I was extremely dehydrated. I lost a whole lot of weight in a very short period of time. And I just couldn't break the cycle. I just kept getting sick. And then I would stop eating and I would stop drinking because I kept throwing it up. And then I would get back in the hospital again and they had to put me on IVs again and do the whole thing. So, you know, the weed is probably the only thing that kept me from just literally giving up and saying, you know, that's it. You know, I can't do this. So, well, no kidding. Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, it's amazing what, it's amazing what the body can go through. Literally what happened was my stomach was up in my chest, literally up against my lungs, and it had pushed itself up into the upper cavity, and they had to, been there for decades, and they had to like open me up with the little incisions and pull the damn stomach down into the bottom where it's supposed to be and stitch it to the wall of the stomach, to the abdomen, and then tighten the area around where it slipped through. It's probably already, when I got done with the hospital, they said, well, it's already started to slip back up there again. So I'm like, yeah, that's great. So, you know, but yeah, cannabis was a huge help. I mean, you know, it's the only thing that could get me through the fucking nausea, you know. I'll tell you a story. God, this is back in the 80s. A friend of mine's dad had throat cancer. Smoked a lot of cigarettes. And he lost a shitload of weight. He wasn't eating, couldn't keep food down. He was like 90 pounds. The guy was like 6 foot. He was down to like 90 pounds, which is like roughly half of what I weigh. So, yeah, he was all skin and bones. He couldn't eat. He had no appetite at all from all the chemo and radiation and everything, right? So, my friend called me up and said, could you bring some joints over here? Maybe Dad can smoke some and maybe it'll give him the munchies, you know. I said, sure, I'll do anything I can. So I rolled up 8 or 9 joints because I knew he would only be able to smoke the first quarter or half of the joint before it got too hot. I mean, the guy had throat cancer, you know. We all know that when you get to the bottom of that joint, it gets pretty harsh. So he always smoked. He was only going to smoke the first half of each joint. So I went down there. The guy was a retired GM worker, you know. Worked his whole fucking life, man. Busted his ass. Got cancer. So I went down there and he goes, I don't know about this marijuana stuff. I said, what the fuck do you got to lose? I said, dude, you're dying. You can't keep food down. If you don't stop this weight loss, you're going to die faster than the cancer's going to take you. So what do you got to lose? And the guy's like, come on, Dad, you know, do it with us. We'll smoke with you. So I lit up the first joint and I passed it to the guy after I got a good burn on it. And he just took the tiniest little fucking hit. Now the guy used to smoke cigarettes, so, you know, he knew how to smoke, you know. He just took these tiny little hits, you know. And I didn't think he was going to get high from it. I mean, he was just doing these little, you know, kind of things. So, you know, we're passing the joint around, and I light up another one, and he does the first half of that one, you know, and we light up a third one, and he smokes a little bit off the first half of that one. And all of a sudden, he just sits back in his recliner, and he's got this fucking grin on his face. It was unfucking believable. The guy was a scarecrow, literally a fucking human scarecrow. And he got this incredible grin on his face. And he yells out to his wife, Melba, I want me some steak and eggs. And some fucking hash browns. And I want it now. So she runs into the fucking kitchen and makes up she has some strip steak there, you know. Made him up a little steak and eggs and hash browns and that. And he sat there and fucking ate a whole plate of food. And from that day on, I went down there every day and got that guy high until he died. I mean, I just went down there every day around lunchtime, and we would sit there and get him high, and he would eat, and he would go take a nap, you know. And I think it extended his life, because if he hadn't have been able to start eating, he would have died much quicker. I mean, he was literally on the doorsteps of, like, dying of hunger, like literally die of starving to death because he couldn't keep food down. He didn't have any appetite at all either. You know, you don't want to eat. You know, when you're nauseous, you don't want to eat. You know, it's the one thing you don't want to fucking do is put food in your face. So yeah, we got him high every day, and the guy was a lot happier. He was a lot more comfortable. It was in a lot less pain. He was a lot less stressed over the fact that he was dying, which is pretty fucking stressful, you know. And he got to spend some quality time with his son and his wife. And, it was good. It was a good fucking situation. And cannabis was the only thing I could come up with that could help this guy. They had him on all kinds of anti-nausea meds and shit. They didn't do anything. That shit doesn't fucking work. So, yeah, I mean, you know, if you've got any kind of ailment going on out there, you know, yeah, I really do recommend you get some cannabis going as quick as you can. So anyway, it's been an hour. It's been fun hanging with y'all. I'm going to go ahead and sign off here now because, you know, I think I'm boring myself even here. But I hope you remember to keep taking your medicine. Cheers.